Hello fellow clear mind enjoyers. Today I'm bringing you the updated Centurion Fiendsmith build. I might be a bit late with this update, but I've been busy playing Evil Hero Fiendsmiths, and I really enjoyed that deck. If you like Evil Hero cards, I'd recommend checking it out, because it's probably the closest thing we've had to a truly playable Evil Hero deck. But let's shift focus to Centurion. So, what's changed since the last video? Well, the big addition is Lacrima. You might be wondering, why is Lacrima so good and important? The answer is simple. This card turns every Fiendsmith card into a 1-card combo for Centurion, and on top of that, it adds resilience to the deck. It helps the deck play through disruption better and also helps fix one of the major issues Centurion has always struggled with: consistency. Let's talk about the problems of a conventional Centurion deck. The Centurion engine traditionally runs just 12 proper starters, and 6 of them are normal summons. That means it's fairly common to draw hands with dead cards. With only 12 starters, your odds of opening a playable combo sit at around 85%. But when we integrate the Fiendsmith package and count Lacrima and Lurry as starters, we actually reach around 15 cards that can initiate a combo more consistent. That brings our success rate up to 92%. It's even possible to increase the deck size to 42 or 43 cards while still maintaining around 90% consistency, but I decided to keep things clean and stick to 40 for this build. Another huge benefit of the Fiendsmith engine is that it adds extension power. Before, we were limited to extending with Centurion spells or relying heavily on normal summons. Now, we can extend using just 2 monsters on the field. For example, if we start without field spell and get Primera or Duel onto the field, and this gets disrupted, we can follow up with any normal summonable card. That means a bad hand with a duplicate or non-engine cards can be extenders, just normal summon and proceed with the Fiendsmith combo. On top of that, Fiendsmith adds a grind game to a deck that already had a strong grind engine. So we're essentially doubling down on a strength. However, as with all good things, there are downsides. The biggest issue is that integrating Fiendsmith makes the extra deck extremely tight, limiting flexibility. We're sacrificing one of the deck's core strengths, versatility in the extra deck. Also, keep in mind that Fiendsmith plays worse into Max C and fewer loss. That's why I don't recommend extending the engine too much. Now let's go over the main deck. For the Centurion cards, I'm running 2 Primera, 2 Duel, 3 StandUp, 3 Oath, 1 Wake Up, 1 Atrii, 1 Gargoyle, and 1 Phalanx. Thanks to the Fiendsmith engine, we're able to reduce the number of normal summons in the deck, which helps mitigate those awkward hands where you draw multiple normal summons. Even Atrii becomes less of a brick, since all you need is a second monster on the field, like a Bestial, to get right back into a Centurion combo. Primera, Duel, and StandUp are all 1.5 card starters for your regular Centurion line. Oath also works as a starter, but the combo you get is a bit weaker with it. Now let's look at the Fiendsmith package. I'm running 2 Engraver, 1 Tract, 1 Lacrima, and 1 Lurry. This is basically the minimal Fiendsmith core, and they all function as 1-card starters. If you already have a Centurion line available, these also help you summon Apollo USA or Caesar to play and force interruptions like Nibiru with very little investment. What's also great is that there are no real bricks in the Fiendsmith portion of the main deck, just the occasional slightly awkward draw. Next up is the Bestial lineup. I reduced the number of Bestials in this version to fit in more versatile non-engine cards. Right now, I'm playing 1 Magnum Hut, 1 Saronir, 1 Druisworm, 1 Baldrake, 1 Lubellion, and 1 Regained. These add disruption, resilience, and extra bodies, which can be really clutch. Lubellion is a good going first card because it can guarantee an extender. However, during my climb I kept losing coin flips, so I ended up cutting down on Lubellion since it's not ideal going second. There's definitely a world where both Lubellion and Regained could be cut entirely. For non-engine cards and hand traps, I'm playing 2 Max C, 2 Ghost Ogre, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Fewer Loss, 1 Nibiru, 2 Called by the Grave, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. The best hand traps change depending on the meta, but this ratio worked well for me. I'd recommend adjusting based on what you're seeing in your own ladder climb. Now onto the extra deck. First, let's look at the Fiendsmith package. Of course, we're running Closed Moon, Requiem, Sequence, and Lacrima. To make everything work, we also need Liner and Chorozo. Closed Moon is just there for its type and attribute. It's a light fiend that gets linked into Requiem. Requiem then summons Lacrima, and Sequence does the fusion play while also equipping itself to Lacrima. After that, we link Lacrima and Sequence into Liner, who lets us bring out Chorozo by sending Liner and Sequence to the graveyard. Chorozo is a level for tuner and lets us go straight into Primera Primus. For the Centurion synchros, I'm playing Primera Primus, Auxilla, and Legacia. Primus searches Emblema and destroys on summon while reviving herself if a Centurion card is removed by your opponent. Auxilla searches and places Centurion cards into the back row from the grave or banish zone. Legacia draws and non-target destroys the highest attack monster your opponent controls and can back row Centurion cards from grave or hand. Then we have the Crimson Dragon package with Blazer and Supernova. Crimson Dragon cheats out synchros by targeting another synchro of the same level. Blazer is an Omninegate, a Solemn Judgment, and a Battle Fader all rolled into one. Supernova isn't a negate, but it wipes the opponent's entire field if they activate a monster effect and is immune to destruction while gaining a massive attack stat. If you don't have Supernova, Cypher is a decent alternative. I personally prefer Supernova for its sheer impact. I'm also running generics like Chaos Angel, Barone, and Appaloosa. You probably know what they do, but they're still amazing for the role they play in this deck. Now, let me share a little experiment. I tried playing Artemis instead of Chaos Angel and changed the Centurion ratios to 3 Primera and 1 Trudia. The idea was that if Primera gets disrupted, you can link her into Artemis to make a Bestial live. Then you go into Closed Moon and start the Fiendsmith line. But during my climb from Master 3 to Master 1, I never actually used this line, and I found myself missing Chaos Angel a lot. It's still an idea worth testing if you're feeling experimental. That's it for the deck profile. Without further ado, let's get into the combo section. As always, I'll stop talking here and let the notes on screen guide you. I think it's easier if you just skip through and follow the visuals. My main goal is still to help you understand the fundamentals of this deck. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm always happy to help. And if you're already down there, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to help me reach my goal of 1,000 subs this year. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.